Click below to watch the original Sins video. The black bar behind the sin counter and timer doesn't show up for a couple of seconds.
Oh, look, they're dreaming.
How the fuck would she be able to know that?
We'll name this half Marlin Jr., and then this half Coral Jr.
I like Nemo.
For all of them?
That is not what she was suggesting at all, and I think you knew that.
Coral?
Movie kicks you in the balls at the 4-minute mark, and your balls will not recover.
This sin is for the movie making you feel things.
Oh, man. I'm only laughing because when I went to Wikipedia to research that earlier sin about breeding habits of the clownfish, I read that they're hermaphrodites. So if the alpha female of the clan is killed, the strongest male remaining becomes female and takes her place, which means Nemo is destined to be a chick. And also means I think I just figured out the plot to Finding Dory.
Okay, let's just go over that sin again. As you said, the strongest male remaining is the one who becomes female, which is correct. But then you said that Nemo was destined to become a chick, which is incorrect, because Marlin is the one who is the strongest male remaining.
This crab gets his shell stolen, but then in the wide shot, the two fish bullying him have completely changed colors, and the shell is gone. Either that or this school currently has 2 incoming students whose shells have been stolen by duo bullies, which would be weird, even in an ocean-based school.
The idea that there are 2 separate students who have had their shit stolen is an accurate portrayal of the bullying situation in the public school system.
Let's name the zones of the open sea.
I doubt it was this exact one, but I'm sending this motherfucker for being the same species or cousin species of that thing that killed Steve Irwin.
That's racist.
Okay, so I've seen this movie before. I know the ultimate moral is that Marlin should let Nemo live his life and not be a nagging rules-based father. But the problem is, this scene that sets the entire movie in motion sort of proves that Marlin was right, and Nemo was a dumbass, right?
Wrong! As shown in the earlier scene, Nemo was not intending on touching the butt at all until Marlin showed up and started yelling at him. So the ultimate moral is not just let your kids do whatever the fuck they want, because you're right. That would be stupid. The real moral is actually, don't be such a nagging piece of shit to your kids, or else they will resent you and rebel against you, which will put them into the exact kind of danger that you were trying to prevent.
Is it customary for scuba divers to write a return address on their masks? Thank God for Marlin's sake, right?
According to YouTube user Mike G from the comments on the original Sins video, this is actually a relatively common practice.
And we gotta find a fish that can read this. Hey, look, shark! No.
After Marlin just sat in on a shark AA meeting and these sharks have done nothing to eat them, he still thinks they'll eat him, which causes him to panic and chase after Dory, which then starts a chain reaction to Bruce's relapse.
So basically, this sin is for Marlin being uptight, which is, in fact, the point.
You can read?
I can read? That's right, I can read!
But why can you read? You're a goddamn fish. If fish can read in this universe, why is Marlin so mind-blown about it?
The implication here is very clearly that fish can't read in this universe and that Dory is the outlier. So why on earth would you be confused about Marlin being surprised? Also, the real question here is how Dory knows how to read. I checked, and there isn't really an explanation anywhere in this film, or in Finding Dory for that matter.
He likes bubbles.
That's great, but you were not on any of these walls a second ago in the wide shot.
This shot is of the tank from the side of the waiting room, while the wall that Peach is on the side of the examination room.
Kid, if there's anything you need, just ask your Auntie Deb. That's me. Or if I'm not around, you can always talk to my sister, Flo.
Auntie Deb calls her sister Flo, which, if she weren't a reflection, would mean she's Aunt Flo. So there's that to think about.
That was actually really funny, so here's a send-off. And to anyone who doesn't get that, that was a period joke.
She wouldn't stop shaking the bag.
So her parents took the cutest picture of her with a dead fish after she murdered it.
Murder is a very strong word. This is manslaughter at worst. Or I guess fish slaughter in this case. Also, it feels worth pointing out that the rest of the fish need to be in a saltwater tank, which a goldfish like Chuckles would not have survived in. Darla would have been the least of his concerns.
Are you my conscience?
Movie saves a ton of animation time and money by putting Dory and Marlin in the darkest place possible.
Fish from the daylight zone like Marlin and Dory would not be able to survive in the midnight zone like this. Thanks to Evil Pikachu for pointing that out.
No eating here tonight. Woo! Eating here tonight.
Get the f*** out of there!
I mean, they're safe now, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh, little Blue. She is sub-level, dude.
Okay, so Dory is lying on top of this turtle's back, all unconscious and shit. But just a second ago, they went through some sort of roller coaster ride where Marlin had to hold on to Crush's shell. So who kept Dory in place?
That part about Dory being unconscious is straight up false, because she is actually counting for a game of hide and seek with the kid turtles.
The word is he's headed this way right now to Sydney.
Thanks to a dentist who labels his scuba masks just in case he loses it and can't afford a new one.
Let me refer you back to that comment from before about how writing your address on a scuba mask is a very common practice.
Heroes get trapped in a wheel cliche.
The only other instance of this that I can think of is Pinocchio, and I don't think a sample size of 2 is enough to be considered a cliche.
Temperature 82 degrees, pH balance normal.
The Aquascum announces the temperature in Fahrenheit, despite the fact that they are in Australia, which uses Celsius like every country in the world besides America.
With fronds like these, who needs anemones?
So, learning how to let his son take risks somehow also made Marlin good at joke-telling?
I think the point here is that the whole experience made Marlin a lot more confident, which the joke-telling is a side effect of.
Now what?
Exactly. I guess the movie is telling us they died in those closed bags because they couldn't get out, right? That's pretty damn dark.
Well, as of the end credit scene of Finding Dory, these guys were still alive in those bags. Whether or not you consider that to be plausible is a whole different thing, but we'll get to that if I ever make a video on Finding Dory.